anything from the regular breakfast that he touched on that you would like to hit on?
So I'm always interested in the offensive line stuff. I would say what they're going to do with Caden Wallace, I did find interesting. I heard Zoe talking about it today. So, Kevin, I don't know if you want to play the Caden Wallace cut. It's the second of the two.
You mentioned Caden Wallace on the first answer, and he was interesting last year because he played mostly right tackle at Penn State. They sort of played him both sides, and then he had the injury.
Yeah, he got hurt. 4. And I think by all accounts, you try to – offensive linemen really can't play special teams, right? They're not a contributor. You're a tight end, you got a running back, you got a linebacker. Some of these young players, they can get their feet wet. They can develop on special teams, gain the confidence going out and doing those things on special teams. And Caden, they were trying to do that from the XL tight end. And he was doing a nice job. He was playing physical, doing a nice job, and then got injured. And by all accounts, worked extremely hard through that process to one, get back, but also to train while he was out. So looking forward to working with him. And again, we're only going to evaluate what we see going forward. We don't care how you got here. We just care what you do when you're here. So whatever they are coming in there, when we see them, we'll evaluate them, we'll work with them, and we'll try to have a role or a vision for them.
My one follow-up on him, is there any thought to just letting him stay at left just because he had never really played it before?
I mean, that's something to consider. We're going to consider everything once we get everybody in the building. And figure out what's best for the player and what's best for the team.
So, I just think that Wallace, to me, is an interesting case because they took him with the idea that he could be their left tackle. It never materialized. And I think at a minimum, what Vrabel gave you some insight as to how they're going to treat some of these guys from last year's draft, which is I'm not going to hold it against him that someone else picked him. And in his case, the coaching, he didn't say, I'm giving you the Mazz translation. The coaching kind of sucked, and then he got hurt. So we have no idea what the kid is, but yeah, we're going to start him over on the left side. And there were a couple of times he was asked about left tackle and about Wallace. But yeah, we're going to start him over on the left side. We're going to see what we get. Now, I don't know that this will prevent them from taking Will Campbell or doing something else at left tackle. But I do think it gives you, to me, I'm just not ready to write off a guy like that. And he was asked similar questions about Layden Robinson, who also was in last year's draft. But he seems to be willing to completely start over with a couple of those linemen. And again, Mike, I'm interested in the offensive line. I know it's boring. I know it drives you crazy.
No, got to do it.
Yeah, but their line, he said Cole Strange is going to figure in somewhere in those interior 3 positions. They don't look at him as a tackle. He looked okay at center. He's going to fit into the mix there. He could play either guard. They're not sure what. So I think they're going to have a lot of moving pieces there on the inside, but I think he's approaching it the right way. Don't write off a guy just because he was drafted by someone else.
Did he say he views Will Campbell as the left tackle?
He did not say that. He just said that there were a couple. He was asked about the tackles available in the draft, specifically the first 2, Membu and Will Campbell, and said there were other tackles available, other spots too. So he didn't eliminate those guys. He was asked about Tyler Warren at tight end and said he would love the idea of, he sort of played with Curran on that one. Said that he loves the idea of having he'll take as many tight ends as someone can give him, even though they already have 2. So I thought he played it kind of smart. He didn't, as I would expect, he didn't eliminate any options at number 4. But I am interested in, I think the more bodies they have on that offensive line, Wallace, Campbell, Robinson, Strange, and I'm not telling you I believe in all these guys, but the more bodies they have, the better off they're going to be, certainly compared with where they were a year ago.
All right, let me play you 2 more from my conversation with him. And again, we dropped in the middle of it, so I think this was picked up. I think Louthie was rolling in a studio, and he may have just picked it up from being, I don't know how we got this, but if it sounds really bad, I won't run the second one. But I thought he had an interesting question about the style of. I asked him about the new style of defense and the new style of offense. Kevin, let's do the offense one first. So I can't remember if that was number 1 or number 2, but those off-mic questions, and again, it's not going to sound great, but you'll get an idea. Here's the one on the offense.
Offense.
In Tennessee, you had a run-heavy game. Was that based on personnel, or was that
absolutely based on personnel? I mean, whatever you think of Derrick Henry, that he was one of our best players. So that was certainly what we wanted to try to do.
Okay, so simple as that. You know, again, because I think a concern is that Vrabel's too old school. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play defense. We're going to do that thing. Is that what you want to do? Or did you just do that because you had Derrick Henry? And he answers there, Mazz, Derrick Henry in no uncertain terms. That should make you feel better.
Yes, definitely good. And I would absolutely play these cuts despite the fact that they were recorded handheld. So, because I listened to them before the show. So, to me, again, right answer. Now, again, will he, the words are one thing, the actual action is something else. So will he carry that forward and coach it that way, that now that he has Drake May instead of Ryan Tannehill, he's going to be willing to put the ball in the air? I think he needs to develop confidence in May first. But that was an encouraging answer.
Okay, defense. He's changing the defense. Penetrating, upfield, one gapping. After all that time with Belichick, two gapping, he's changing the defense. Here is his, again, Q&A on this, and work with me on the sound. Go ahead, Kevin.
Michael, different defense. New defense, a different defense than we're used to seeing. I mean, since Belichick, going back to Bill, I'm going to do it some more, though.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, since he got here in 2000, it's been a two gapping, and now you're changing it. Why?
Well, I think that we've just transitioned, from those style. I just think with the type of offenses, and not that that's a bad. There's a million different ways to play defense. There's a million different ways to play offense. Blocking schemes, it's what you do, what you believe in, but what you get the players to believe in. We've just had players on like J.J. Watt. When we went to Houston, what good was it going to be to have J.J. Watt try to two-gap like that? You're just wasting everybody's time, and you're wasting his skill set. And so, not to compare anybody on our roster to J.J. Watt, but we're just going to try to be a little bit more attacking. Well, try to be able to not, play his lateral, and that was what the 34 defense did. And we're just going to have a little bit different style.
Okay, not going to try and play his lateral because that's what the 34 defense did. That's like just one way to put it. Bill was concerned sideline to sideline. Vrabel's and their defense be a little more concerned about getting upfield. And, he said it was personnel-based in Houston. When are you going to go to J.J. Watt and say two-gap? That's a waste of everybody's time. Now, here it feels like they went out and got players. And when I interview Elliott Wolf, you'll hear that I forgot the name because I keep forgetting the guy's name, who they signed from Philadelphia. And I'm doing it again right now.
Milton Williams.
Milton Williams. God, remember the name. Milton Williams. They went out and got Milton Williams specifically to run more of a gap-penetrating defense, right? So it's what Vrabel wants to do, and there will be a change on that side of the ball, which I think is, I guess it's time. It probably is time. And the whole thing about running the ball, that thing he did in Tennessee was about Derrick Henry. It wasn't about him being wedded to that philosophy.